Here's the exact moment I changed how I do PQA. I was mid-story. Things were going well. I thought my class was with me, and I asked what I was genuinely convinced was a killer personalization question. Total silence. Not thinking silence. Not processing silence. The specific kind of silence where one kid looks at the ceiling, another one adjusts his shoelace, and you realize with slowly dawning horror that they had no idea what you just asked because they didn't understand the story yet. The problem wasn't the question. The problem was the timing. And it took me an embarrassingly long time to figure out that PQA, before comprehension, is locked, isn't personalization. It's just confusion with extra steps. By the end of this video, you'll have 3 clear moves for timing your PQA so it actually lands. How to stop personalization into a void, how to actually confirm comprehension before you go there, and what to do in the meantime while you wait. And I'll tell you about the number one thing that makes teachers rush the PQA, because it's probably happening in your room right now, and it makes complete sense that it's happening, and it's working directly against you. A lot of PQA that feels interactive is actually just the same 3 students answering while everyone else performs the visual of participation. And if you've been blaming that on this group just really doesn't engage, I hate to tell you this, it's probably a timing problem, not a people problem. The default move in a lot of CI classrooms is to weave in PQA as you go. You set up a character, you ask something like, hey, does anyone here also have a dog? And you keep moving. It feels natural. It signals to students that you care about them as people. And in theory, all of that is absolutely true. The problem is that in practice, if students don't yet have solid comprehension of the story action, what just happened, who did what, and why it matters, your personalization question lands in empty space. They're not disengaged. They genuinely don't have enough context to connect what you're asking to anything meaningful. So they shrug, or they guess, or they give you a one-word answer that technically counts as participation but tells you absolutely nothing and gives you nothing to build with. Now hold that thought, because in a minute I'm going to show you what locked comprehension actually looks like. And it's more specific than you might think. So here's the first move. Don't fire your first real PQA question until the story action is established and confirmed. Not I think they got it, actually confirmed. I know that feels like you're delaying the good stuff. PQA is fun. Personalization is engaging. You want to get there. But the personalization hits so much harder when students actually understand what they're personalizing. Instead of jumping into personalization the moment you introduce a character, keep building the story action. 2 or 3 more exchanges. A little more detail. Let the image solidify in the room. Then, before your first PQA question, you run a quick 30-second comprehension check. Not a quiz, just a fast, whole class pulse to see who's actually with you. I'll show you exactly what that looks like in the next segment. So here's what this looks like in class. You've set up your story. Marcos wants a dog. His mom says no. And now Marcos is writing a persuasive letter to his parents. Instead of immediately asking, "Does anyone here have a dog?" Which, fine, they might answer, but you've learned nothing useful. You take 30 seconds. Okay, what does Marcos want? What's the problem? What is he doing about it? You get a quick read. 3 or 4 students confirm the setup. Then you go, "So has anyone here ever tried to convince your parents of something they really didn't want to do?" That question lands completely differently. Students are answering from a place of actual comprehension, which means their responses are richer, more specific, and way more usable for where the story goes next. And here's the failure mode. Some teachers run the quick check, get responses from 2 confident students, and decide comprehension is locked. It's not. 2 kids answering is not comprehension confirmed. It's 2 kids. When that happens, push for one more retell before you personalize. Okay, who else? Give it another 15 seconds. You're not burning time. You're building the foundation that makes the next 10 minutes actually work. You've probably had this experience. Class feels like it's going well, energy is decent, nobody looks confused. And then you ask a follow-up question and it becomes immediately clear that about a third of your room was operating entirely on vibes. They weren't understanding the story. They were following your facial expressions and guessing. And honestly, respect. That's a survival skill, but it means your PQA timing is based on completely false data. The mistake is using energy as a proxy for comprehension. High energy doesn't mean comprehension. Participation doesn't mean comprehension. Head nods absolutely do not mean comprehension. Some of your students have been nodding at things they've never understood since the first day of kindergarten. Nodding is a social behavior. What you need are actual signals that comprehension is locked, and they're more specific than vibes. Here's step 1 of the real comprehension check. Use a single targeted yes or no question about the story action. Did Marcos want a dog? Quick, obvious. You're not using it to measure mastery. You're using it to read processing speed. Fast, confident, chorus answer. They're with you. Hesitation or silence, you've got work to do. Step 2, a quick translation check on one key phrase from the story. Not the whole story, one phrase that's central to the action. What does "quiere un perro" mean? Watch the whole room, not just the hands. You're reading lag time. Long lag means comprehension is not locked. Short lag means you're closer. Step 3, and this is the one most teachers skip. Ask for a mini retell. Someone tell me in English what just happened. One sentence, one student. We're on the last check now, and this is the one that actually confirms it, because you can nod at a yes or no question and still not understand the story. But you cannot fake a coherent one-sentence retell. If they nail it, comprehension is locked. If they fumble it, you just saved your entire PQA session from going absolutely nowhere. Here's the classroom moment. Your story is going. You've just established that Elena's best friend moved away, and now Elena is devastated. You run your 3 checks. 45 seconds total. Fast yes or no responses, decent translation of key vocabulary, and then a student retells. Elena's friend moved away, and now she's really sad. That is comprehension locked. Now you go, has anyone here ever had a close friend move away? What was that like? And the whole room responds differently. Because now they're connecting a story they understood to a real experience. That is PQA actually working. If the retell fails, if the student says something that makes it clear they missed a key piece, here's exactly what you do. Don't explain the story again from the beginning. That way lies chaos and 12 minutes of your life that you'll never get back. Instead, re-enter the story at the specific point of confusion. Act it out, rephrase the key moment, and run your quick check one more time. You're not starting over. You're patching one gap. The whole thing takes 2 minutes and it saves your whole PQA session. Here's the part that makes teachers nervous about delaying PQA. Not student silence, teacher silence. The discomfort of feeling like class isn't happening while you wait for comprehension to catch up. So what do most of us do? We fill that space with personalization before the room is ready. Because at least then something is happening. This is the thing I mentioned in the intro. It makes complete sense, and it's working directly against you. The fix is to have a real plan for the not yet window, the space between story action established and comprehension confirmed, that keeps class moving without jumping into personalization too early. And the good news is that window is just more story, more CI input, more of exactly what you were already doing. Step 1, extend the story action with more comprehensible input while comprehension catches up. Don't stall, don't explain, don't drill. Keep the story moving and let the input do what input does. Add a detail. Give the character a reaction. Ask a yes or no question about the next beat. You're not killing time. You are banking exposure, and every single exchange is bringing more students into comprehension. Step 2, use targeted circling on the story itself. Questions about the characters and events, not about students' personal lives, to deepen comprehension before you pivot to personalization. Does Marcos want a dog or a cat? Does Marcos want a dog? Yes. Does he want a cat? No. Great. What does Marcos want? That loop takes maybe 60 seconds, and it's not filler. It is you earning the right to personalize. You're not delaying PQA. You're building the room where PQA actually works. Step 3, have a bridge phrase ready that makes the transition from story comprehension into PQA feel natural instead of like someone suddenly changed the channel. Something like this. And I literally have this written on a sticky note until it becomes automatic. So, in this story, Marcos is trying to convince his parents to let him have a dog. Has anyone here ever had to convince your parents of something they really didn't want to do? That bridge does two things at once. It confirms the story is still in the room. The student has to understand the story to connect it to their own experience, and it invites the personalization in a way that makes complete logical sense. Here's the classroom scene. You've been in the story for 7 or 8 minutes. You've established the action. You've circled it, and your comprehension checks came back solid. You deploy your bridge phrase. One student immediately goes, "Yeah, I tried to get my parents to let me get Snapchat when I was in 7th grade." Beautiful. You now have a real anchor, story comprehension, and genuine student experience. And the personalization is building meaning on top of meaning instead of floating loose in the room. The failure here is deploying the bridge phrase and getting nothing back. Silence after the bridge. Here's exactly what you do. Don't ask again. Don't rephrase. Don't make a face. Don't panic. Turn back to the story. Okay, let's see what Marcus does next. Keep moving. The personalization window will come back around, and when it does, it'll land. You do not have to force it at that exact moment. A story that stays comprehensible is always better than a personalization session that goes nowhere. Timing your PQA isn't about being more careful or more strategic. It's about doing less work for a way better payoff. Comprehension first, personalization second. And the whole thing works the way it's supposed to instead of feeling like you're personally dragging 27 students through a swamp. If this video was useful, hit the like button. I know that sounds like something a robot says, but it genuinely helps other CI teachers find this content so it actually matters. And if you want more of this, subscribe. I post every week specifically for CI and TPRS teachers who want moves they can use tomorrow, not theory they have to translate into something usable. Now here's my question for the comments. Where in your story do you usually pull the trigger on your first PQA question? Right at the top, mid-story, or after the action is fully established? Drop it below. I'm genuinely curious how different people are timing this because I think there's a lot more variation out there than people admit. And if you want done-for-you CI materials that have already the story structure and comprehension checkpoints built right in, the CI Survival Kit is in the description. The link is down there, and it's worth a look. And if you want a quick read on where your CI practice actually is right now, take the free CI proficiency quiz. The link is also below. Click the next video up on the screen, and I'll see you there. Happy comprehensible input.